McAfee Annual Maintenance Extension.
Dr. Johnson, members of the board, and Mr. Thurman, good afternoon. The purpose of this recommendation is to provide continued virus scan, web filtering, and spam filtering for our student and teacher workstations. In your packet, I've included threats that were blocked recently, and also Gartner's Magic Quadrant, which I think is extremely important because they are who we depend on. They're the world's leading information technology research and advisory company, so we depend heavily on them. I also included the original contract from last year just for your reference, and I would like to say that over the life of our agreement with McAfee, we have not had any major virus outbreaks, and I feel like this has shown the effectiveness of the solution. It is with that I'm asking for you to approve the year 2 payment of the McAfee Consolidated Virus Scan, Web Filtering, Spam Filter, and Maintenance Renewal from Lenovo Financial Services at a cost not to exceed $139,885.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, is there any opposition to placing this item on the consent agenda? This item will be placed on the consent agenda. DeKalb Parks and Recreation 2014 Summer Feed-In Program Agreement. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed one. 7, technology grant. Yeah. Technology grant.
That's item number 2 is a technology grant to adopt digital learning using high-speed internet connections. And I'd like to take a minute and say over the last year, we have undertaken some necessary improvements to the overall technology in the classroom and the infrastructure that's associated with it. And before I speak on the grant, I would like to quickly address how we arrived to where we are today and the journey that has taken place over the last year. As many of you are aware, DeKalb County School District is one of the only school districts in the metro area to completely own its fiber network, and this was the base the district needed to ensure optimal success for the future. In February 2013, with your support and approval, we were able to outfit 137 of our school buildings with wireless internet technology. This provided one access point for every 2 rooms. In July 2013, the desktop refresh was approved. We have outfitted every high school and middle school with new desktop computers and started the elementary schools in January, completing 40 of 78. The anticipated completion month is still on track for May. In January 2014, with your support and approval, we began the 21st Century Active Board installation, which will put interactive boards in every classroom by August 2014. To date, approximately 400 boards have been installed. Last month, you recognized the importance of increasing wireless access to provide one access point to every room for our students and teachers, along with updating the network infrastructure components, which brings us to where we are today. In your packet, you will find the state contract, authorized dealer information, along with pricing we are receiving for the unit, the selection criteria and format used to apply for the grant, and information from Gartner showing the solution chosen is amongst the leaders in the market. Last November, seeing the need for increased bandwidth for faster internet service, we applied for a federal technology grant for equipment to support high-speed internet access. The technology grant to adopt digital learning using high-speed internet connections is a federal grant program addressing the nationwide objective to provide access to 99% of American students to ultra-fast broadband. With this, the DeKalb County School District will purchase the equipment to increase bandwidth from 2.4 gigabytes per second to 40 gigabytes per second by the summer of 2015, meaning we plan on using this money and joining the PeachNet network, which our university system is on. We were awarded $197,000, which is the largest amount that you could receive from the grant. And with that, it is requested that the Board of Education approve the purchase of high-speed internet equipment from Blue Door Network, LLC, at a cost not to exceed $197,000. This purchase is being made via the Georgia State contract number GS35F-0511T, held by the MNX Group.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Mayfield?
Yeah, I just had maybe just one, maybe two questions about the whole access issue. And this is a network performance issue, obviously. And I guess my question would be, do we have a profile of the number of devices that are actually trying to get access? And whether or not, and how they are distributed. In other words, I'm assuming we're not providing devices, but the students need devices. And so how are we profiling the classroom to determine the device piece?
Well, there's two things. We actually do provide devices, but not on a one-to-one basis. So
Okay.
you have several schools that have Surface tablets, laptop computers, along with iPads from a mobile standpoint.
Okay.
What you do have at times is you do have students bringing in technology, whether it's a technology day or for whatever, that are actually accessing the network, which, you know, of course, is a cause for increased bandwidth for, faster access.
Right.
Currently, right now, we have on any given day, and this is just an example because it varies, we have just from their own devices, we have about 1,100 devices that are not necessarily DeKalb County school district devices that are hitting the network at a high school. So that means students, of course, students are bringing devices, cell phones, et cetera.
Right, and that's kind of where, again, getting into the weeds, but not necessarily getting an answer here. But in order to make sure that we are cost-effectively deploying our network to ensure that tools for the classroom have primacy, are there ways to be able to sort of manage non-classroom type tools from getting access to the network and therefore chewing up bandwidth?
Yes, and actually we started with that layer. When we deployed the wireless network, one of the things that we waited to do was to deploy security software called ClearPass. And that security software has actually been deployed. We started this week. It's in 5 schools, and we're deploying it in sections. It was recommended by not only consultants but manufacturers that we complete the project first before we actually install the extra security layer, because there is security on it. And so now we're focusing on the manageability of the devices, yes.
Okay.
No further discussion. Is there any opposition to placing this item on the consent agenda? This item will be placed on the consent agenda. Item number 8, DeKalb Parks and Recreation 2014 Summer Feeding Program.
Yes, good afternoon, Board Chair, Vice Chair, members of the Board, Superintendent Thurman. My name is Joshua Williams. I'm currently our Executive Director of Facilities Management, direct to report to our Chief Operating Officer. I'm happy to be here with you today to present on behalf of Mr. Stephen Wilkins, who cannot join us today due to travels. The first agenda item, as it relates to the summer feeding program, represents a very long-standing collaborative partnership between DeKalb County School District and DeKalb County government. For the past 20-plus years, the district's School Nutrition Services Department has provided nutritious meals to support the DeKalb County Parks and Recreation Summer Program, which operates in nearly 50 to 60 sites throughout the summer. There is no financial impact to the DeKalb County School District's general budget. Our School Nutrition Department anticipates a projected revenue of approximately $680,000 by serving as a vendor to support this effort. Furthermore, it is requested that the Board of Education approve the agreement between the DeKalb County School District and the DeKalb County government to serve as the vendor for the 2014 Summer Feeding Program. I've asked Ms. Joyce Wimberly, our Executive Director of School Nutrition Services, to join us should there be any questions. Should there be any additional questions, we would like for the Board to consider adding this to the consent agenda.
Is there any discussion? Mr. Orson?
I just have a quick question. We had discussed this earlier, whether there are opportunities to expand this even further, you know, Boys and Girls Clubs and other organizations, since we have this embedded infrastructure, available staffing, we seem to be pretty good at doing it. It seems to me that this is a way that we could continue to add revenues to the school system while also providing our expertise.
Absolutely. I did mention that to Mr. Wilkins, and we're looking into some other opportunities as well. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayfield?
Yeah, and I guess to that point, where my concerns lie, the same ones I guess I voiced last year, and that is whether or not we have the costing associated with this down. I mean, I know these are the prices that we are charging our clients or our customers on this, but I haven't seen an income statement for the program yet, so I don't know whether or not expanding the program would actually create a loss or not. Is there a way we can actually get that nailed down?
Okay. Yes, sir. We can provide that information.
Okay.
Mr. Coleman?
I anticipated Mr. Mayfield's question and asked it ahead of time. We've got to make sure the costing obviously is inappropriate. My understanding is that we had a $167,000 surplus last year, so it depends on if you've costed that correctly, obviously, and we could obviously review that, but I think it's a great question.
Yes, sir.
Is there any opposition to placing this item on the consent agenda? Hearing none, it will be placed on the consent agenda.